Today's podcast is brought to you by Toki. They just launched this 510 wax cartridge, and I'm very excited to give it a shot. Made to dab on the go, the Toki 510 wax cartridge provides wax concentrate heating with its quartz coil heating element. Optimized for best use with the Toki 510 wireless vaporizer, but works with most other 510 batteries, the 510 wax cartridge provides rich concentrate flavor at low temperature and big hits at higher temperatures. Get 10% off your order using code TrueBudsShow10. Check it out today at mytoki.com.
This is True Buds, that Mary Jane. Now we ain't new to this. For my stoners and for my cannabis enthusiasts, never heard a show as good as this. Yeah, number one, it's the best. Bringing in many special guests in the industry of cannabis, business owners to growers, even artists you know of. So sit back and just roll up, the perfect show for my smokers. True Buds.
Oh yeah. In the building today, we have Amy Robbins, Creative Cannabis Consumption, cooking up some tasty treats. Those cakes look amazing.
Thank
I
you.
want to get one. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Kicking it.
Took a huge dab.
Oh, that looked nice. You guys might have recorded at the interesting time there. I'm over here lighting up a J.
I had to get it going, you know?
I hear that.
That was a rough one. Woo!
So what kind of got you started into doing baking with cannabis, or have you always been a chef?
Well, yeah, kind of. I grew up in the South, so I've been cooking since I could stand at a stove, and both of my grandmothers really encouraged me to cook, and I loved it. I mean, I was always in the kitchen making up some random stuff all the time. My first cake for my parents I made when I was in like third grade, and I didn't put sugar in it. So it was, it's been a learning curve ever since then. But I went to college in the South and then moved to Las Vegas like 2 months after I graduated, packed my car up, came out here. I've been a bartender for 12 years, which ages me a little, but so I've been doing that for a long time. And in 2016 rolled around and I was like, when they started to legalize cannabis, it was already medically illegal or it was just went medical. I can't remember. But when they were going to legalize it recreationally, I realized, okay, this is the industry that I wanted to go in because I love smoking weed. I love everything about weed and I love to cook. And I was like, okay, well, how can I put this together? Boom, I'll be a weed chef. And I enrolled in culinary school out here in Las Vegas. It's actually one of the top 10, it's number 7 top culinary programs in the country as a community college, which is crazy to think about. But all my professors are amazing. Like they're so skilled. I learned so much from them. I went on to learn about the technical parts of it because obviously the passion for it was there, but I needed to know more about the technical parts of it. And so then I started applying what I learned in school, making edibles. So since 2016, I've been doing this, and I kind of just fell into making cakes, honestly. Like I took a cake decorating class on a whim, and my professor was this, she had been like an executive pastry chef at the Excalibur. She is amazingly talented. She had done a life-size chocolate sculpture of the Excalibur inside the Excalibur. Like it's insanely huge, a huge project. She was so good. And that was my cake decorating teacher. And she was very passionate and taught me a lot. And then I started making cakes for people. A girl I worked with at the club that I was working at, her boyfriend's birthday was coming up. She's like, hey, can you like make a cake with weed in it? And I was like, I don't know. I'll try. Fuck it. So I made her this Oreo cookies and cream cake. It was like 800 milligrams and they loved it. And it went from there. Like I posted it and then I had more people just start hitting me up for different stuff. And I built a lot of basically my friends have funded my R&D for 4 years. And so I have all these recipes and all these, techniques and processes that I do for stuff. And I really it's just, I don't know, the passion and the love for it, but coupled with the fact that, I know the technical aspects of it. So,
and that's what 5 years. And that's a awesome story that you've been in the game for that long, doing your thing. But like with the technical aspects of it, I'm kind of interested in that too, is like, so maybe if it's okay with you, like walk me through a process of doing a cake in terms of like how it is the infusion in the batter as well as the icing, as well as maybe like the ganache, or kind of what's your process in
Yeah, pretty
infusing?
much. Honestly, I put weed in every part of it if I can. I did it for a long time. I didn't put weed. I wouldn't bake it in the cakes. I try not to take it too high for too long because you really degrade the quality when you do that. So I would much rather put it in the frosting. So I put it in the butter that goes into the frosting, and I can dose it appropriately based on how much I want, you know. And then I started about a year ago, I made some weed sugar, some infused sugar. I tested it out, and this shit's amazing. Excuse me, can I cuss?
Oh yeah, 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 absolutely.
It's really good. Like, I got it off the process and recipe from this amazing baker from Colorado. She was one of the first infused bakeries in Colorado when it was recreational. So she's got some really great recipes. And I made it from that, and I do a couple different kinds. And I started putting that in different recipes, and it changes um, kind of the flavor, and it's not a bad thing. Like, it just depends on what it's going in, honestly. Because sometimes I'll put it in a simple syrup that I, put in between the cake. So you want to keep the cake layers moist. And a lot of times we put a simple syrup, or like I'll do a chocolate. If it's a strawberry cake, I'll do a strawberry flavored syrup, but also is infused with distillate. So it kind of just wherever I'm feeling.
That's the way I like to cook.
Yeah,
I don't really bake that much, but my thing is just going with the flow of that moment, that ingredient, what you're
yeah.
feeling. But I'm also happy that you said simple syrup, because I was a bartender for 10 years myself.
So yeah,
So I love that. So to break it apart, we'll get back to the baking here in a second, but I'm just curious, have you messed around with making any infused cocktails?
yeah. So I'm happy. I do have some recipes because I was a sorry, my
You're
I was
chilling. You're
a
chilling.
high volume mixologist on the strip in Vegas for a long time, and I really love that. I did do the club scene for a while, but then I got back to being these craft cocktails. I like them. People like them. And there's a lot of CBD cocktails I see out there, which I like. It's the same concept. Even though there's water soluble CBD you can use, there's like water soluble THC powder that's out there as well.
Oh,
But
I haven't seen that.
yeah, I've come across it a couple times, but I don't know. I don't know what I feel about it.
I appreciate the honesty.
I'm
Now with
working on it. But I would do it with the sugar. I think it's fun. Like, you could do it with another fusion like lavender or something, and put it in some champagne. Boom.
bam,
It
that's what's
would
up.
be, a great cocktail you could have at a dinner.
It's little sim for before, a little after, a little aperitif for you.
Right?
Well,
Mix it
you
all
just gave
up.
me a thought too. I know people. I was never into it, but I know a lot of people in the service industry really like taking like Fernet shots, and I feel like that's something that you could probably throw any fucking like random. That would cover the taste of like
Absolutely.
anything.
Yep. You're so right.
Just
That and like
brainstorming live
Jaeger.
here with you.
Oh, oh my
So
gosh. What a way to really mess people up too. Because once you get going on for net, that
that
night's
shit's
gonna be crazy.
yeah, that is true. That is very
At
true.
least in Vegas.
So when you're baking your stuff up, you do you mostly use distillate, or do you use flour? You use whatever kind of you're feeling, like what you were mentioning a moment
Yeah,
ago,
it
or
kind of just depends. I just I have a bunch of different type of extractions. I have oils, I have sugar, I have distillate. You can put distillate into butter and infuse it at a low temperature. Use that. I mean, whatever you have. I use flour and make my own extractions too. It's kind of just whatever I have
just
available.
whatever's at disposal? I hear you. My buddy just
Yeah,
gave me a bunch of shake. I'm making some good stuff with. Made some liquid coconut oil recently. Gonna do some honey. So excited
yeah.
for
You
those.
gotta have a little bit of everything, because then you can just try a recipe that you want to try, put some weed stuff in there, boom.
And one that I want to try recently that I feel like so easy because I'm trying to do like easy recipes right now is the Rice Krispie treat because it's just butter and marshmallow, right? Rice
Yeah,
Krispies.
but you
That's what.
know, a little trick I've learned is put a little sweetened condensed milk in there in the pot and let it all melt nicely, but don't burn it. And then you put the cereal in. Try that,
Oh,
but not too much. You got to get the ratio right.
a nice little tip right there.
Yeah, it gets it. It's a nice coating. I love Rice Krispie treats. I mean, who doesn't? I make all kinds of them. They're
Yeah, do
so
you have
good. Do Captain Crunch.
like and like I feel like the cakes, like what I've seen that you've done is those cakes look pretty elaborate. Is that kind of the focus of what you're trying to do, or is that just kind of where it's gone? Like in the future, like
It's what people have requested.
yeah, huh?
Honestly, people are like, "I like this." I'm like, "Okay, here you go. Just make it up."
Nice.
I mean, some of my cakes I are more about the flavor and but I mean, all of my cakes are that way. I don't care as much about being something elaborate and crazy, but I want it to taste good, you know? I want you don't want to sit there and eat the whole thing. You're not going to, but
Well,
you
and
want
and
to.
that's awesome because that's kind of what maybe why I haven't baked as much myself is because everything I've made tastes so weedy. Like so I'll just eat it like just take coconut oil by the spoonful or put it in some caps or a smoothie or something because
Yeah,
in my
that's
experience,
a good way.
but I'm no, like I said, I'm no baker, but I've just, that's why I'm like happy to talk to you right now, kind of learn maybe to ways to like make it taste better, even if you're
Yeah,
using like
something
some,
that I found, which the first time you do it, you're going to be like, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" But it will hurt your heart a little bit. Put it in a mason jar and then fill it with alkaline water, and it will pull out the chlorophyll. Soak it for like 48 hours, and then it'll pull out all the chlorophyll. So then when you drain it out, just decarb it from there.
oh,
It
really?
helps the flavor. It doesn't get so like plant tasting.
Oh, damn. That's a little hack because I've cooked my butter with in the crock pot with the water in there with the
Yeah,
butter. And then I put it in the refrigerator and it's like the same thing. It's amazing how it separates and you
it'll
see that.
separate.
Like,
Yeah, I prefer to sous vide it because I don't like to wait on it. But
oh, you have
it's
a sous vide?
yeah, I do that too sometimes.
I'm jealous. I've always wanted one.
It's just on Amazon. Highly recommend. Super fun. Especially like to do stuff in the kitchen and experiment. But if you soak the chlorophyll out and then decarb it just till it's dry, you can just put the weed in to a jar with your butter, put it in a hot water bath, let it boil, and then you just strain the weed out, double strain it, boom.
That's amazing because that's an awesome hack because my buddy did I did a bubble hash with my buddy and he put it was doing the ice and the water and it kind of blew my
Right?
mind. It seems counterintuitive that it could work, but that's
Bubble
awesome.
hash is cool. I haven't done that yet, but yeah, it's
But
that's what how it's easiest for me to do extractions, but I mean, it's less steps involved, I guess. I don't know, but that I think I got that from uh Jeff, the 420 chef. He has a cookbook. I think he's another chef in Colorado. He's really cool. He's got it's all these chefs I get there. I get all their cookbooks and I'm like, tell me more. I love this. The science behind everything.
that's awesome. I need to check his. I feel like I might have seen him on YouTube, if I'm not
Probably.
mistaken. Jeff
He has some
sounds
stuff out
420
there.
chefs. It's got a ring to it. Maybe it's just a nice name like that.
Yeah. He has an Instagram too out there. I follow him. He's got some good stuff. It's cool to like see one of my friends out here. She's a pretty well known chef too. She Edible D. She's awesome, amazing. And I really like following other people who are passionate in the field too because it's like I love seeing what other people are doing and cheering them on and we have a community of stuff. It's like I just really enjoy it. It's a good community to be in.
Hell, I completely agree there. And you brought up something that I'm thinking about as we speak here is so if somebody wanted like to get a cake, maybe they were in town, maybe it's like, oh shit, it's my birthday. I'm going to Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Could I contact you ahead of time to do some
Oh
like
yeah, for sure.
nice infused cake, little birthday surprise or something for somebody?
Yeah, of course. Because
Perfect.
technically, you brought me the weed and I'm just making this cake for you.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
sharing. Is no sale
exactly.
really, and everything's all legit.
I will bring it over. I'll deliver it for you.
Oh
We
wow.
can have a great party. I have lots of friends that enjoy when they come to Vegas and have a party, and they're like, "We want a weed cake." I'm like, "I got you. Kind of come over and bring it. We'll party."
Now, being somebody that knows the Vegas game, to break it off on a little tangent here, what do you have somewhere that's your favorite, like that you enjoy going?
I mean, pre-pandemic,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The times are crazy now.
I really miss. No, I mean, sometimes there's some days where I'm like, I kind of want to go out and have drinks and not be stressed, but no.
Yeah, it's
Um, yeah, there's a lot of cool places. There's not any places open now, but I worked at a pretty big club for a long time, so it just depends on if you're in the mood to like go to a bar or a club or downtown Vegas. There's all kinds of cool shit out here. They have this new place called Area 15. I haven't been to
uh,
yet, but it's a huge like interactive art installation. It's really cool.
that's dope.
Yeah, get really high and go there.
Yeah, I've seen them doing some stuff like that out here, like some drive-through art stuff. I haven't gone to any, but people just trying to keep stuff up during these fucked
Yeah,
up times. So
I
it's
know it's
interesting.
shit is crazy right now. Just getting high all day, every day. I'm like, fuck it.
Best time to perfect those recipes, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing. I'm working with a company and hopefully be in my own space in the next month or two. So I'm hoping, but we will see. But either way, I'm still making cakes and I'm, cookies and whatever requests that people do. Sometimes people are like, I just really want this dessert. Can you put some wheat in that? I'm like, I got you. Here you go. It's fun.
See, my favorite dessert's just a chocolate chip cookie and milk, which I'm yet to try. Have you ever done an infused milk? I know it has the fats in there that it can bind to or whatever. I just haven't tried it. I've watched and read
No,
some stuff about it.
maybe almond milk if you could infuse it, but not. No.
Yeah, I just don't, and that's something that's interesting to me too, is like, what's the point, where maybe like, let's say this coconut oil I just made, I put like 38 grams into like 14 ounces or so.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point when I put too much? I don't think I did, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's hard,
because you can always dilute it.
but like, what's the point? When does it reach its absorption peak? I guess, when it's like the body, like if you take a vitamin, it can only absorb so much,
Yeah.
it's like when does the oil reach that full absorption point? Is something I've just been geeking out in my head lately. I'm like,
I think that it would. It, it's a volume thing, so
yeah,
it has to be covered over it for it to have enough in
yeah. And
enough
it varies
molecules
for
to
every
bind.
it varies for every amount. I've just been kind of thinking about this as I'm making my infusions because I made some with a lot more before, but I'm like, is all the THC getting soaked in or am I wasting a little maybe? I
Yeah,
don't
I know.
know.
I have these thoughts too.
uh,
Trust me. I'll be in the kitchen and I'm like, and then I start writing it down. But I have a scientist I'm working with now, a chemist, and I'm like, I have all these like chemical questions that I have to set up to ask him. I'm like, I need to know these things to calculate loss and the technical. I'm very interested in knowing the answers to those questions too because um that's something that I personally am like, I just calculate for loss. Um, I don't. You have to have enough volume of you'd have to have enough volume of oil just to cover the product.
yeah, to make it as strong. Yeah, it's
Just warm
all,
enough,
and that's a crazy thing
but
too that
not
I
too much. Just right over the top.
yeah, but that's where it's crazy too. I know we're like I'm getting down like a wormhole here, but it's like what if the product and it was right over the top? What if it was like very high THC product, just say like 30% flour and then there was somebody's shake that had like 10%. It wouldn't really matter. I have the same thinking as you. I'm just kind
No,
of
but
like geeking out.
it all goes in the final calculation for how much THC is in there.
Yes, yes. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Those maybe it wouldn't get all the THC out of it though, right? Or
But
no?
that's what you account for with homogenization. It's just you gotta agitate it. That's what it helps to have. I just shake mine when I do them in a water bath, like with butter or oil. I just go through and periodically shake it, and then homogenizes it when you're. So it's making sure that it's getting it the whole thing around. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, and it's just interesting. Like, I guess what I was saying, just like when there has to be a point almost to me when there's too little or too much. But I always err on the side of rather waste some and it be strong as hell than like not put enough in.
Yeah, yeah, but you just have to know there's only enough. How do I explain that? No,
Getting
I get
deep
what
in
you're
on
saying.
some dosing here. Yeah, no, it's no, I feel what you're saying. I've just like I don't know. I've always tried to figure this out of what is the perfect amount. You know, say you're in doing a cup of coconut oil, and then you have your certain percentage.
It just depends. You just have to play with it.
Well, and that's the best part is that it's changes almost for every recipe because unless you got the same connector, you're going and getting the same strain every time. You're not going to be able to make a lot of times, at least for me, I never really make consistent shit because I just get trim and shake from friends and stuff. So I'm always making random batches of goodies, but I never have like a set method like this is going to be this. But it's
You
interesting.
have to calculate it from every step of the way. So, like if you're doing an ounce of flour and then you weigh how much of the fat you're putting in, then heat it up so it melts and homogenizes together. And then when you press it out, that final amount, that's how much you divide the percentage of THC that is in the whole ounce that you had. So it's a relative thing. It's a relative equation.
Yeah, yes. If you know it ahead of, if you actually know the correct percentage.
Yeah, but you can estimate.
Yeah, you can't. That well, I don't know what. Have you heard of this? I do it in my videos. This potency tester, the little T check. Have you seen that or have any
I
thoughts on
have
that?
seen it. I need to get one, but I mean, I'm about to be yeah. They're I think that I have a couple of friends that use those. I've heard but I haven't gotten one yet. But I
Yeah,
mean, it's in theory it makes sense. I mean that you would be able to test the potency. It's like through light particles, I think.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's not going to be like lab test or you buy the machines that are 20,
Yeah.
30,000. But to me, it's been accurate for the most part because I know, or I kind of when I buy edibles from the dispensary, that I know are like legit from like solid brands out here, I'll kind of base it off that. Like, oh, I took 50 milligrams or 20, 30 of this solid brand like Kiva or Emerald Sky, and I know it
Mhm.
kind of feels like this. So then I'll kind of compare that through the results of that.
It could be your homogenization too, because if you're getting like one part of it that feels really strong and then you get another part that doesn't feel that strong at all, your perception of what it is could be different. You know what I'm saying? Like that first time you're like, whoa, this doesn't feel the same as that one, the tested one in the lab. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's where I recently
Because
made a
I did the
video
same
too.
thing.
I've recently made a video too about lecithin and
Hmm.
using it as an emulsifier. Do you use that within your batters and your butters?
Yeah, I do it in my when I'm creating my infusions at the base level. So it just depends. Honestly, it is a I my girlfriend D Russell, she edible D, she's awesome. She talks about that. She does soy lecithin with MCT oil and a big batch and infuses it and then freezes it and can reuse it, whenever. So it's like super concentrated, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah, and that's just extra potent, extra nice.
Yeah. And she said it's like the best way to go put the soy lecithin. So
Okay.
I trust her. She knows what she's
Hey,
talking
hey,
about.
I'm gonna have to go check her out right now. Just talk
Yeah,
to
you
her.
should. I'm gonna have to watch a video on this.
No, because it's yeah, I know. I just love geeking out on this stuff because and that's something I
Yeah.
like to express in whatever I do is like I'm no expert. I love to cook. I love weed and I'm pretty good at it, I think, but I like to
Same.
always like say how I'm gonna make the recipes better and stuff, you know? And that's where
Yeah,
you've
for
already
sure.
and that's where it's been a good conversation today. I feel like to help people make their edibles better.
Yeah, I mean, share the wealth, the knowledge, here you go.
Yeah. So when's your book coming out?
I was just thinking that earlier today. I was like, I really probably could write a cookbook. Maybe I should do this.
You
I don't
should.
know. I'd have to put all my thoughts together of all the things I like to cook and that I know I'm really good at, 'Cause you got to make like 15 of them over and over again to have the perfect pictures and stuff.
And that's where too, I think that like even talking right now, I feel like you'd have a killer like YouTube channel. Just, I mean, there a lot goes into YouTube that doesn't seem like if, but you can just go live and do your recipes and stuff. I feel like you have that like a cool personality. You do really well on there, and you're knowledgeable. So
Thanks. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm working on trying to get a YouTube channel together. It's just like it does a lot to create content, man. Like I am it's a lot of but I'm working on sending it out there and hopefully I'm, manifesting this in the new year. This past year, 2020 was crazy for me. So I've been trying to kind of get it all together, make it work. So I thank you for this. Like this is cool. I'm really glad I met you. I think you're very knowledgeable in a lot of stuff and definitely you got the passion there.
well,
And you like
thank
the
you.
same, you like weed and food too.
It's hard not to, right?
Yeah, two of the best things in life, man.
So that's true. So apart from like infusions, is there stuff you like to cook up besides that? Just being in culinary school and loving it? Is there like a couple people ask me that question? It's hard to go get an answer, but do you have a couple, maybe one of your top signature dishes, an Amy signature?
It's always funny when people ask me that because yeah, I do. I am from the South, so I would really love to open a Southern food restaurant out here because they don't even know. Like we have some fire food in South Carolina, and I have this whole list of Southern food recipes that are just classics to me that are a staple of my childhood. But shrimp and grits for sure is number one.
I've
I'm
only
I'm
had
really
one
picky
good
about my
shrimp and
food.
grits.
Yeah, I make fire shrimp and grits. I'm not even gonna lie. They're very delicious. Just every time. It's
That
hard
sounds
to mess them up. I'm from South Carolina. We know how
that,
to cook.
that's money. Yeah, but the crazy thing is on that dish, it's crazy how, like simple it kind of is, shrimp and grits, but it's like crazy how many people get it wrong. It's like
Oh
because
yeah.
I've had one good out of like however
You're
many.
helping.
I've had some decent ones, but the best one, what they did with their sauce, they did a brown ale, and
Mm,
they reduced the brown ale with with the shrimp shells that they had peeled with some
yeah.
whatever else, brown sugar, some sweetener, whatever.
Mm.
But that ale in there with the
Um,
shells was money.
I've never had something like that. That sounds pretty good. I might have to try that.
Yeah, it
I
was
like
good.
it.
I've
I
tried, but I
like to different iterations of it too. I mean, shrimp and grits is just it's hard to mess up in the South too.
yeah, huh? Is it that like being from Jersey, people say with the pizza and bagels, they're like, it's the water. I'm telling you, it's the water out here in Jersey makes it better. Like, is it that the
I have
seafood's
heard
better
that.
there? Is it just that there's like a generation of recipes? Like what?
All of the above. It's
Ex-
the water.
yeah.
It's something in the fried chicken. I don't know. I just the pass down. I mean, we have great food cultural history. It's delicious. That's really the only thing I miss about living in South Carolina is the food because I just don't get any of that here besides my own kitchen. If I want to have it, I'm like, all right, I'm going to cook a chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes tonight.
Oh,
My sister's
okay.
always like, yes, we get Southern food.
That sounds so good. I made a couple of chicken fried steaks at my mom's house, but I'm a chicken fry. I'm a fried chicken lover, like connoisseur, like,
How are you not? It's so good.
and I guess I have a question for you. I don't want the family secret, you don't have to give out the family, but like, do you brine your chicken? Do you use buttermilk? Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
okay. And what kind of breading do you use? I think that's where I fuck it up is the breading.
You just got to find the right ratio of cornmeal to flour that you like.
Oh, that's all it
That's-
is? Okay, that's where I've been fucking up. I've just been doing
yeah.
flour and, like, panko breadcrumbs,
You can
one or
do
the other.
panko too, but panko will burn easier. So you just have to be very careful on how high it is, how
Oh,
high the oil is.
okay.
It's,
Now,
it's dependent on everybody's different. Everybody likes different stuff. But
what
if
you get?
you do buttermilk, egg, and um, the buttermilk corn mixture, and then the egg, no, flour, egg, and then flour, cornmeal. I don't know. There's a couple different ways you can do it too.
And that sounds, you got me hungry right now, but you also got me geeking
I
out
know.
again. I'm sorry,
Starving.
I'm geeking out over here, but it's like, what would be the best way? Like, so if ever I wanted to give somebody, I feel like an infused fried chicken, I would have to give them some type of, like, maybe put some infused oil or butter on top after it's done, or and then
Yeah,
maybe do like a
or
honey butter.
put it in the sauce. I mean, it's always better to put it in. For me, I think it's always better to put it in stuff that's at a lower temperature so you're not degrading the THC quality. And then your dosing will be off because it's not going to be as much as you thought. Um, and it
Words of
just is
wisdom.
easier. You could make it like an oil. You can make like a remoulade sauce. You could make a mayonnaise with it and then make honey mustard. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can, wherever you can put the base product, the oil or the butter or sugar or alcohol, the more options you have to use that product. But you just keep them at a low temperature. So if you're going to use the butter, I like to put it in little cubes and dose out butter that way. And then you can just cut off a little bit and finish like your pasta with that. And then you're going to get that infused into the sauce that's on there without degrading the quality of the THC.
And that's a smart way to do it. And that's something I've been learning more recently. So thank you for that too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm diving more into the cooking with it because I would just kind of take it straight up just because.
I mean,
But
if you don't care about getting high all day long, just keep cooking with weed all the time
yeah,
and
so just cook it up.
you know, just like start coming up with the most random stuff.
But I like your idea of the sauce because I've always been a believer that sauce is boss and
Yes.
that it just
Everything
makes
needs
sense.
sauce.
And you could flavor it up. And the thing about sauce, to your whole point, that's amazing is you can flavor up a sauce so easily with a couple spices, a
Hmm.
little dash of some type of little sriracha in there, whatever pepper, throw some rosemary, thyme in there.
All of it.
Yeah.
Brown sugar, some cayenne, all kinds of stuff. You can do your own barbecue sauce. You could do your own mayonnaise, which you could make ranch or honey mustard. I mean, all kinds of options. Everything.
So if you had to choose between butter or coconut oil, I know this is an absurd question. What would you choose if I could say you can only infuse with one of these two?
Well, I am from the South, so butter.
I would say the same thing for sure.
Hashtag more butter. I like butter. Plus, you don't want the flavor of coconut and everything, but you don't mind the flavor of butter in anything. You know,
Well, so
you can't go wrong with butter.
that's a quote right there.
Quote me on it, sir.
For
That's
real.
what I
And
truly
even
believe.
and the thing too with butter, like you said, is taste, but I know coconut oil is healthier, but even sometimes if I have a little of that too much, personally, I feel like it messes with my gut a little bit sometimes,
Yeah.
or I feel like it's a little harsher. Teach
It's
their own, though.
also, it will just, I get really high when I eat I think I just made mine really strong. But the coconut oil I have, every time I cook with it, I am just out. I'm like, okay, I can't do that one again. It was too much.
Yeah, that was me a couple nights ago.
It's like the middle of the day, and because I had some for breakfast. I'm like, why am I so tired? Oh my god. Oh yeah, that edible.
I,
Just when
I
you think it's not working, nope.
I did that with
You're
the
fine.
with a pan once. I wasn't like that stone, but I made a infusion in this pot, and then I cooked like a rice or something. I dumped in there to mix a sauce, and I felt like a little stone. Maybe it was a placebo, but I'm like, oh shit! I cooked the wheat in there. I must not have cleaned it properly.
Oops.
Yeah,
It
bad
will
job.
happen.
So
I I do it all the time.
what is your method that you prefer? Do you prefer infusing in the crock pot or a stovetop, or do you
No,
use like
I just do the mason jars because it's less mess at the end of the day. Either way, like I'll soak it and then I decarb it and then I put it back in the jar with whatever
and
stuff's
then you put
inside.
that jar in the do you put that jar in the oven then or in the crock pot? Like a water
I
bath?
do a Dutch oven water bath, but you could
Okay.
sous vide it.
Okay, so yeah, I remember you mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I was just curious because I've done both. I've done the mason jar in the stovetop. I've also done it in the crock pot. I've seen some people do it in the oven, but that looks a little sketchy to me. I
I
haven't
like to
tried
just
that yet.
put it on my stovetop because I need to go in and shake it and to make sure it stays homogenizing because you just don't want to, nah.
Have you seen this? I've been messing with it
If you have
recently. That
distillate, you could do it on there.
this like Levo 2 thing, this infuser. It's kind of like the
Yes,
infuser you mentioned earlier, but
yes,
it has like a little stir in there, which is
yes.
nice. So you can just like
That's
walk
what you
away.
want. That's what you want. That is the best thing to have.
Oh yeah,
Yes. That's the best way to
I
make
got it. It's
infusions.
behind me somewhere. It's
Nice.
a cool little thing, but
Yes.
the and that's what I actually did this last infusion, and I kind of stuffed it, but they do the little pod there.
Uh-huh.
Another question for you: what are your thoughts of pre-wrapping your cannabis in like a Mylar bag or cheesecloth, and then doing your infusion in like a crock pot or or a double broiler? Do you think that you lose like surface area? Do you think it's all going to penetrate there?
No, because I don't be just because you need that homogenization. You need to
And
be
it's
able
just
to
not going to, huh? Like you're
no, I don't think it will. I think that you need to be able to mix it up consistently in order to get I mean if you want to
to
get the
hit
full
every
amount.
and I'm with you. And the reason I asked too is it pops in my head. I get that all the time is or comments on some of my videos is like people like, well, you could have wrapped it up ahead of time and done this. And my response has always kind of been like, I didn't even kind of think about the homogenization aspect of it, but kind of, I guess I was always kind of like, I feel like it's possible to hit more surface area if it's all kind of
Yeah.
flipping around when you stir it, like you're saying, like it just made sense to me. I guess even from a bartending or any mixing perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean you can do it. I just don't think that you're going to get the full you're not going to be able to fully touch every part of it, part of the plant. The fat's not gonna mix enough to between the two. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No,
Like,
no, I'm with you 100%. You're making me happy right now.
okay, I'm just like, am I explaining this right?
No,
Yeah,
that, yeah,
no.
that, that-
For me, I don't. It just doesn't. I mean, you can if you're not doing a large amount. I think that you would be okay doing that, but meh,
it's
I
like,
don't know.
and that's where I'm 100% with you. And it's like to me, it's like, how hard is it really in the scheme of things to strain it after? Like, does it save you that much time? And then when I have done that method before, I feel like I lose some maybe like soaked up in there. Like, I'm happy we're on the same side here of just letting
Yeah,
it kind of free float in there, unless
I
you're
mean,
using a minor amount or the
you have
Levo.
to use. You have to strain it either way. So
So it could even, yeah.
you might as well homogenize it. Then that makes more sense. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how I don't know. That's how I would always try. I would know how to do it.
Well, and like anything, I feel like we're saying, like whether it was anything you're mixing together, it'd be like, oh, put this little packet in there. I guess tea kind of works, but I still feel like I don't know. I still
Yeah. Now you're making me think.
now I'm making myself. I shouldn't have said that. I'm making myself think here. I'm like tea. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm on the fence. I'm still a believer that like what could it hurt? I think it's always better to err on the side of it's better to do it that way. You're gonna have to strain it anyway, like you said. Just let it
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I agree with you on that point for sure. Like you might as well go with the way that is going to get you the best product than not. You're going to have the same result.
Yeah, and then if you don't, or I know if I did not have a regret too, like fuck, I fucked this up. I should have just let it be in there by itself.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I've been through many experiments. Most of them were successful, but some of them were epic failures. And I'm like, oh,
That's what it takes. I'm right there with you.
this is the game.
And the worst is when, for me, when they're like on video and I look back 3 years later, I'm like, shit. And I like don't take it down. Like I want to learn from it, but like, I'm like, okay, it's a process. And that's why I like to say it's all a process of learning this shit. Cause I'm like, I'm no expert. I'm just trying to make good shit and help
Yeah,
people
but
learn.
your process makes you an expert or makes you I mean, I would definitely not call myself an expert, but I definitely have a lot of knowledge and I don't mind sharing it to people that actually want to talk about it, have other knowledge and discussion about things as well. It's interesting conversation. So
Absolutely. And with that too is, I mean, I don't know if the 10,000 hours is a correct be all number. I don't believe that, but like the 10,000 hour rule of like
yeah,
honing a craft or perfecting something, I do believe in just the reps of doing it
it
for
is. It
sure.
really is.
It's
It's just
like,
consistently day in and day out doing the same thing and or doing constantly learning and adding that and you know constantly getting better to me. But that's why I'm really trying to be full time in this industry and stop bartending because I'm like I'm over people. I just want to go bake weed and like get high all day and whatever,
I'm
make
right
this
there with
my
you.
career.
I'm 100% there with you. And what is, if you had to say your experience bartending in Vegas, what's the most popular Vegas cocktail?
Oh my god, a Long Island or an
I was
audio.
just about to, oh
Blech.
yeah. I was
How do
gonna
I know
say,
you're 21? Oh, oh my god, it's my birthday. I want to Long Island. No, you don't.
oh shit, yeah, that's the best words you just said. It's like, nah. So do you have a drink of choice?
I like old fashions. I kind of judge other bartenders on their old fashioned.
Okay. Oh, so I have a question for you then. How do you prefer to make your old fashions? Because I've do you muddle in there, which is a lot of people do in the Midwest. I prefer not. They do sugar cubes, muddle the orange and cherry. I
Yeah,
prefer
that's a kind of a classic way because but I'm pre-prohibition style, so I just do an orange rind, couple dashes of orange bitters, couple dashes of Angostura. I like to use simple syrup just because it blends easier than sugar cubes. And then I like a big cube, 3 ounces of rye in my preferred. And I like Redemption rye, but because it's
the High
overproof.
West.
Yeah, I love High West. The campfire is good in like Scotch drinks, but the double rye, fire. Stir it around, put a brandy cherry on top. Boom.
You,
That's how
you
I make mine.
I'm right there with you for real. Basically everything the same. I did start out muddling in the Midwest, and then
Yeah,
I
me
came
too.
out here to LA and I kind of saw people doing this other way, like the pre-prohibition, like you were saying. And I did like that more. I feel like it mixes in better.
Yeah.
And it's just a
And
damn
it's
good drink.
so good. And it doesn't taste the same from the first sip to the last sip. It's a constantly evolving drink. It's just fire. If it's made right, so good.
I'm with you. That's actually my favorite cocktail too. And with the High West, have you heard about their distillery at all?
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm
I,
always down to hear more.
I don't know a whole lot. I'm not gonna like get into spirit shit about them. But all I know is that supposedly you can go like if you're like a snowboarder or skier, you can snowboard or ski into the distiller, and
Oh, I have heard that
so
actually.
so I was like,
Yes,
that's pretty cool. That stuck out in my
that's
head. So
super
I kind of put
cool.
that on the bucket list. I'm like, I'm gonna have to fucking snowboard or ski in there and get a little shot of some rendezvous or double
Yeah,
Borhi or whatever the hell they pouring
amazing.
up.
That just sounds super fun. I mean, if I could snowboard or ski, but yeah, it still sounds fun. Who
Hey,
doesn't love drinking on the side of a mountain, especially high west?
for real, huh?
Up aspire. I like
Well,
that. I like Angel's Envy. And then
my go-to for personally is I love Angel's Envy too, but my go-to is Basil Hayden's.
yeah,
Just for like an all-around price point, like old
yeah,
fashioned, and has a little sweetness to it to me that works with it. I'm a big Basil Hayden's fan personally.
I would agree, especially the price point in LA for good alcohol, like for good whiskey. Yeah. Sometimes I forget how cheap it is in other places, and then I go drink somewhere else, and I'm like, this is so much cheap. What is this?
It's
Like
mind
how?
blowing. I go to Kansas, I see cocktails for $9 to $12. I'm like, am I in
I
a
get
fucking
shit
time
faced
warp?
for like $100, and they're like, that's with the tip, like a really good tip, and they're like, oh my god, thank you, and I'm like, no, thank you. This is so cheap.
Yeah, it's crazy how much it is. So yeah,
$4 crown and down. I remember being back home. I'm like, that I could get four for the price of one in Vegas.
and
Yes, please. Let me get four.
in this fucking college town, I went to KU, University of Kansas, and there
Yeah.
they would have 50-cent shot night at this one spot. I'm like, what the fuck is
How
this?
did we? I used to work in this bar, my first bartending job. Under the table, we had these dollar Woobers. I went to Winthrop University. It's like a small little bar school in near Charlotte. And we had these Woobers for $1. It was like probably Natty Light or Keystone Light or some Nat Bush Light, one of those nasty lights. Ugh. And people used to get so drunk, like just beyond. I'm looking back thinking, how are we alive? Like, how did I survive that?
Yeah, it's I think that's especially when I hang out with my old friends and we say that same thing. We're like, what the fuck, man? We're lucky.
What did we do? That's why I'm not worried about a vaccine because I did some questionable shit in college.
Well, and that's where too that like if somebody's really I guess I've always worked in more restaurant bars and like club scenes
Yeah.
is what I've preferred personally. But it's like even then I've been more laid back when somebody's getting a little faded. I'll be like, hey, I've been there. Like, hey
Yeah.
buddy, I've been there. I don't
Yep.
know. Funny.
You're like, I'm just gonna talk you down and give you some water and like we'll get there. I'll come back.
I'm not
Just
paying.
immediately forget them.
So I'm just playing, but it's funny reminiscing on these bar stories. And I do have, when we were talking about Basil Hayden, something did pop in my head that I have one more question I'd like to ask you.
Yeah.
Well, is do you have a favorite edible out there that you've tried in Vegas or a favorite brand of like vape or flower or anything in the dispensaries, or do you prefer just to do your own
Um,
thing?
it just depends on like what I want because there's a couple lines of concentrates that I really like that I used to dab with, which is how I normally consume. And then there are some good edibles. I like Haha. They have a sativa brand, mostly because they're my best friend loves these. These like she's like these changed my life. I love
Oh,
every. She's like
damn.
I am so
You just
much
sold
better
me.
every day, and I was like okay. If my marriage is better, it's amazing, and I was like I am here for
Yeah.
that. She loves it. So those are good. We like those. And the wild ones are pretty good as well. That like the flavor. They're the Pectin Gummies.
Well,
And
I've had
then
those. I didn't know yeah, it's cool. I've had those too. They're nice.
yeah.
Has like a weird package opens like a flower almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Those are good. Betty's Eddies are good too. Those are they have like a what is it? An agave elderberry, maybe elderberry agave, but it's like a taffy,
Oh,
but it
interesting.
has CBN in it, so it's good for sleep, and
Oh,
they
nice.
are phenomenal. They're very good for sleep. I really
Edibles help
like
my sleep so much.
me too, and I really like the CBN. That is a very good component. I feel like for sleeping aid, and I just got into. I had a friend introduce me to Delta 8, and those are really good. Like that's like better than CBD for me. And I'm out like a light when I take those. I'm just so chill.
Oh, nice. Well, I'll have to mess with that because I just tend to steer towards like indica gummies. With
Yeah.
I've had some that have the CBN in it though, but I haven't done that straight up just to experiment. So
Yeah. These are well, it's like I think it's 2 to 1. So I think it's two to one THC to CBN. So
okay,
it still has THC in it, but it's also got CBN, like a high dose of it.
nice.
Not just like a minor amount, a trace amount, you know.
Nice. Well, I know now when I hit up the dispensaries out there, I've gone out a couple times, but I just for some reason I'll just bring my own shit with me. But now I'll have to check them out and get the haha.
Yeah,
But
ha-has. There are some. There's a brand out here that does these Stroop waffles. Highly edible. Those are really good. I love Stroop waffles though. So
what Stroop waffles?
okay, so it's like they're a Dutch street food. It's like a little waffle, a tiny waffle, and it's got caramel in between, and then another little tiny waffle on top. And you get it warm, and it's like kind of gooey but crunchy, and it's amazing.
Okay, I think
And
I
they have
got.
these that are infused. They are so good. Pop them in the microwave for like 10 seconds, and it will change your life.
Oh shit. Well, I'm ready to check out your Stroop waffle then. See what you got going on there, infusing
I
that caramel
know.
up.
I do have a caramel I make. The caramel's easy. Just put it in some butter. Get a caramel recipe. Make sure you have a candy thermometer to do it. And then put in the infused weed butter at the end. And it will, wherever it says to put the butter in the recipe, and it will infuse your caramel for you.
Oh
Boom.
shit. Boom.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Hey,
There you
thank
go.
you.
Start baking that way.
Hey, dropping nuggets of gold here today, but
I'm
for real,
trying. I'm helping.
hey, thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, of course. This was super fun. It was nice meeting you.
Likewise, likewise. I'm excited to see how we can collaborate in the future, maybe do some videos. And
Sure.
if ever I'm in Vegas, well, I'll be in Vegas again.
I
But if ever I'm
I
celebrating a
got you
birthday, I'll
on
be like, I
the
need this
cake.
cake. My boy's turning 30. I need to get him this cake.
Maybe I'll drive a cake out to LA sometime because I gotta come. I gotta get out of Vegas at some point very soon because
Guys,
I'm
get a
so
little
tired of
breather,
being
hit the beach up,
yes.
get a little medicated.
I just want to get high on a beach for a minute and then come back to reality.
That's all it takes for me sometimes is just
Yeah.
recentering, whether it's a beach or my brother's backyard. A part of me there is just like the taking a couple days sometimes, just get that fresh juices, and it's like, oh damn, okay, I
Yeah.
feel like
A new
charged.
person.
I'm
Yes.
charged back up.
Yeah, exactly. Recharge for sure. I definitely need to go recharge and out of this for a hot second because everything is a little, the energy is very volatile right now, I feel like in the world. And yeah, so this was fun. This was great. Next time you're in Vegas, though, hit me up. I'll bring you some goodies and got you on the cake. We can
Awesome.
you can tell me whatever kind of cake you want. I'll make it for you.
All right, I'm gonna be scheming. I'm gonna be scheming.
Fine. I'll send you a list of like all the options and then let you choose from some of those and see because that'll give you a lot of ideas.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to see, you know, what you keep doing because you're obviously very passionate, like we were saying, and just and that's gonna run a long way. That's really gonna touch
Thank you.
people, and you're gonna and food, like we're saying, is a huge component to life, and
Yeah.
combining the two, you're gonna make a lot of people happy. So thanks again for coming on today and kicking
Thank
it.
you. I appreciate it. I had a good time.
All right, likewise. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Have a good night.
All right, you too.